Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ray of Hope of Happiness. Hope all is going well. Kind of wanted to do an update for those of you that have followed me on my ongoing issue with my neighbor. They moved in approximately 3 years ago. Since then, the law has been there over 200 times. Okay. Well, in July, this gentleman decided to come after my daughter after we done had him trespassed in January. He decided to come after my daughter with a knife while we weren't home. I called the law. We were as soon as we pulled in the driveway, my daughter came running out, scared half to death, and da 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 da. Well, anywho, so we called the law. It's the same officers that have been out here multiple times. Okay. They said since they didn't see the incident that I would have to go file the charges myself. So I went and filed the charges myself because we live out in the country. When I say the country, it literally takes law enforcement 25 minutes sometimes to get out here. They don't get here quick, even though they're a known nuisance. Well, okay, so every time, even though the law makes it out here, they don't get to see them doing what they do. Like, they've literally cut each other up. They've literally wrecked cars. Like, when I tell you that there's been an overdose, suspected overdose, they lost their kids. Like, when I tell you that this house is an issue, it's an issue. And trust me, I didn't want to stick my nose in it, but when they come banging on your door at 2 o'clock in the morning, help me, help me, help me, she's killing me, like, what do? You know what I mean? So, like, there's multiple layers to this. Well, so finally, like I said, we trespassed him in January because we were done with the shenanigans, like, over it. So I went and took charges out. They took the charges, 2 charges of communicating threats. That was basically all we could get since it takes the law forever to get here. Well, so we had our first court date. I can't remember exactly back when. I think it was in August. It was in August the 26th, August the 27th, somewhere around in there. We had the first court date. So I went to the first court date. He got a continuance. His lawyer, his paid-for lawyer, I won't mention his name, his paid-for lawyer took me in the room and said, well, y'all just need to do mediation. I laughed. I was like, dude, are you crazy? I'm like, he went to my landlord after he got arrested and tried to have me evicted, saying that me and my husband and my child, that we got arrested for brandishing a firearm. Lied to my landlord, and she tried to do a 10-day eviction, mind you. So, like, we had to prove it wasn't us, etc., blah, blah, blah. Like, he had to take some days off work, we had to go get paperwork, etc. So I explained all this to the DA. Now, he was told when he was released on bond not to have anything to do with us. Now, mind you, this communicating threats and coming after a knife is against a 13-year-old. Not no grown-ass man or woman, a 13-year-old little girl. While we weren't home. Like, he legitimately knew that we were not home and came after my child. Now, he's done had 3 continuances with his paid-for lawyer, and the DA of Cleveland County doesn't seem fit to violate his bond. Like, I've been trying to get his bond violated ever since he contacted my landlord and lied. And his attorney and the DA says it's not enough to revoke his bond. That he went and lied. But he was told not to have any contact with us whatsoever. So we just had a court date this week, and the DA's excuse was that he hasn't had time to prep. It's cut and dry. If you would do your homework on this man, like, I've given the DA the homework, where they've lost their kids to DSS custody. They've now since got them back, but do they need them back? No. The law has been to their house almost 200 times since they've moved in. Multiple he is vicious when he gets intoxicated and when he gets high. And the safety of my child and me, and we deserve to be able to live in peace. And the DA of this county will not do nothing. Won't do nothing. The DA is like, oh, what's it matter? He's not fighting for me at all. He's not fighting for my daughter at all. This is a grown-ass man coming after a child with a knife. And the DA is just not doing anything. The next court date is October the 30th. And I'm very just disgusted at the fact that being a victim and my child being a victim, and this has been going on, they don't want to hear none of the facts of this case, of how it's progressively gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And like I told the district attorney, I want to talk to the judge, because it's going to wind up to somebody getting hurt or somebody killing somebody. They have already stabbed each other next door. And they have two little small children. Not adult children, not teenage children, like toddlers. And it just blows my mind. It just honestly blows my mind, because he has a paid-for attorney. His wife's family has the money, so they're paying for the paid-for attorney. And he's coming in there dressed to the nines. Well, that doesn't make the man. I'm sorry. Just because he's dressed to the nines, the facts are the facts. And that pisses me off with judges. And I know for a fact it's because he's got a paid for lawyer that nothing's being done. You can't tell me any different. Because the DA could care less. He hasn't tried to speak to me. He hasn't tried to get information of why this may have occurred. None of it. Zero. The only person he talks to is his attorney. Cleveland County needs to do better all the way around. There's some people, if he didn't have a lawyer, a paid-for lawyer, and he was with a court-appointed attorney, you would have done railroaded him. You would have done railroaded this man had he had a paid-for attorney. Because I've seen worse happen with less. And I know the man's a felon. So, I know how you treat felons inside that courtroom. So the only reason he is getting the, oh, baby treatment is because he hired a paid-for lawyer. And this is just crazy. Is this what our judicial system is? For real? A grown-ass man can come after a child that's 14 with a knife, and you literally have to go take out papers on him, and the courts will do nothing to keep you safe. Nothing. They let him free. Oh, he can even go contact your landlord and say that you got arrested, and that doesn't violate his bond either. Even though the DA knows he was told not to have any contact with us. Even though he knows that we have a no contact order. Well, not a no contact order, a no trespassing order. I mean, this is absurd to me. Absurd. And if anybody on here that watches this, is an attorney that can tell me what I can ask for, what I can do, because I can't even literally go to work. I'm afraid to go to work to leave her at home any amount of time by herself. Because when I tell you that, he goes crazy. It doesn't matter if it's daylight, dark, whatever. I have seen him physically go berserk. And there's no sleep at night once he gets started either. Because he plays with flashlights and goes out there and screams to the high heavens. I mean, it's just, I'm just really pissed off at Cleveland County. I will tell you, the county is Cleveland County. It just makes no sense to me. None. We have lived in hell for 2.5 years. Hell. And for anybody that knows me knows that I do not like the police. And I don't like dealing with courts. Because it's a joke. it's legitimately a joke. And it bothers me that just because somebody has money, that they can legitimately walk away from something like this. And this is a crime against a child. Not, I mean, yes, it was a crime against me too, but first and foremost, it was a crime against a child. And this DA will not do anything. He's allowed him 3 continuances without saying, no, hold on, no, He's given him 3 continuances. And the DA knows that we live beside each other as well. The law's done been out here last week. Because she was screaming to the top of her lungs, help, car was loud. Like, what do you do? Well, anyway, that's an update on my neighbors. And for those of you that come on here and say, well, move. Well, I wish I had the money to move or the money to buy a house. It just isn't that simple. But if anybody can give me any positive feedback or what to do, I do want to try to maybe talk about small claims court, because of all the time we've lost, the sleep we've lost. My kids have lost sleep. Like, when I tell you, like, if you look at the paperwork's this thick. How many times the law's been there? Like, it's absurd. It's stupid. So, but anyway, I hope everybody has an amazing day. That's just an update on my neighbors. Make sure that you have an amazing week. Make sure that you have an amazing weekend. Oh, God, how can you make sure? We'll be positive, for one. But I love you, folks. Thank you for everything. We're up to 79 subs, working our way, hopefully, up to 1,000. But I so appreciate every one of you, and peace out.